Hi everyone, Bernard here. I hope you're all staying safe and well, and welcome to the Citizen channel. And today we have a moments in time, a very special and unusual moments in time, though, that mixes joy and horror and disaster on the same day. We're going to go back to 1985 on the 11th of May 1985, a significant day for City, but it wasn't City where all the front page headlines were going to be made. It was obviously, we'll get to that in a moment. We're going to talk about the City versus Charlton Canon League Division 2 promotion defining game, aren't we? It's played at Maine Road. On that basis, there was 5 teams still in with a chance of promotion, which included City, who sat third. Top 3 went up, and a win by any margin would realistically see them promoted. Our nearest challengers were Portsmouth on the same points, but with a 5-goal disadvantage. Many of you history buffs will know back in time, Portsmouth did us on a goal difference long time ago. So this was a chance for revenge for City. City would still make, of course, the back page headlines that day, but the front page would belong to a game at Bradford, at Valley Parade, sadly for all the wrong, disastrous reasons. So we're going to have a look at that today. Please, if you're new to the channel, push that subscribe button, push the bell notifications. We do all these little history vlogs on City present. As I'm recording this, we've just had the announcement of the European Soccer League. So I don't know when this is going out or when you're watching this. Obviously, it'll be around about the 11th of May. But obviously, things will have progressed. But we'll just talk about history today. We're not interested in that, however. We'll just talk about this. So please push that subscribe button and notification button. You will see stuff on film and TV as well. I have a little film and TV channel. If that's of any interest, have a look over there, or anyone you know might be interested, please point them in my direction. I'll be very grateful. And of course, Facebook and Twitter. If you follow or friend me on there, do check every 2 or 3 days and follow and friend everyone back. And I post loads of City stuff on there, obviously, on Facebook and Twitter. All your comments are welcome. You had any special memories of this day? I mean, say the memories did get tempered a little bit. We'll talk about that later. Tempered a little bit, tempered a lot. Obviously, but I'll talk about my sort of feelings. Obviously, I was at Maine Road that day for this game. So any comments you can make, please do so. I've got some sort of old papers here as well, so you have to bear with me while I just find the things that I'm looking for. But just a way of retelling the story of the day, really, from back page to the front page. So there, please join me for that. And if you haven't got time for your comment, just give us a thumbs up. That's fantastic. Right, back to the game at Maine Road. Over 47,000 packed in. I think there's a few more there. I think it's one of those days where the crowds were sort of altered slightly. I mean, there's no room to move, certainly on the Kippax, etc. And all the seats were full there. So there you go. I can't remember where the Charlton fans were. I don't think there were that many. I'm sure they were there, but my memory doesn't go back that far to remember where they were or what they were doing. I was a little worse for wear. In those days, I probably was. I watched a lot of City games after going in the pub before, various pubs. I don't know which one I would have been in before this one. I'm not too sure. I was obviously living in Abbey Gorton at the time in 1985. So, but I would have had a few. I would have been well oiled up before the game. I'll be honest. I'll be absolutely honest with you now. I don't. So memory wise, things obviously are going to fade over time. But it was probably a little bit worse. I'm not too bad. I mean, obviously got in the ground. I probably had a couple of pints as well. So probably as the game started, I was okay. But as it went on, I would probably get deteriorated even more. As a lot of City fans were in those days, and that's just how it was. That's just how I had a young family at home, and it was my chance to get out there and just have a bit of fun. That's what it was all about. It's one of those fantastic days at Maine Road. I spent a few at Maine Road, and many of you, if you're watching this, probably did as well. Obviously, if you're too young, that's just part of history. That's unfortunate, just listening to what us old fogies say about it. But we basked in the sunshine. It's a wonderful day. You can watch the match highlights on YouTube. I've not done a watch along with this one. I'm just saying it's obviously with the subject matter. I've just sort of talked about the game. I mean, the City team that day, for instance, Williams, Lomax, Power, May, Clements, Phillips, Simpson, McNabb, Melrose, Tolmie, Kinsey, and our sub was Barrett. He was unused. Charlton, a couple of names we know on this one: Harmsworth, Fryer, Kimball, Gritt, Dowman, Hazelwood, Harris, Kirbishley, Lee, Kimball and Flanagan, and the U sub was Stewart. All right, I've only heard of Kirbishley. I've not heard of anybody else on that one. The game, of course, ended a nice, comfortable, wasn't it? 5-1 to City with May, Melrose, Simpson and a brace from Phillips scoring the important goals. Lee scored for Charlton. I think it was a consolation goal, wasn't it, at the end, if I remember rightly. Yeah, Peter Gardner for the Evening News, just the first headline we're going to look at today. Peter Gardner for the Evening News. City's Blue Heaven, he wrote. There should be stuff coming up on screen as I'm doing this as well. And he said, nightmare now, just a memory, as his subheading. He commented, all's well that ends well. Manchester City are back in the big time with a 2-year second division exile now. Nothing more than a nightmare memory there. Don't forget, we'd been devastated. I was in tears. I'll admit to being in tears when we lost to Luton a couple of seasons before. Obviously, devastating stuff. But a bit happier this day. And what an emotional return with 47,000 delirious fans cramming Maine Road for Saturday's massive promotion party. The Blues didn't exactly make it an emphatic manner, with a series of slips and judders leaving the issue in doubt until the very last match. But once into the thick of the last chance confrontation, City made no mistake with a crushing 5-1 victory over Charlton Athletic. Yep, so that was Peter Gardner. Just have a look at some of the other headlines in other papers. Alan Stevens, a headline in the News of the World, was City roar back up. So there you go. But he did temper that a little bit. He tempered it with the joy with words from Billy McNeil and Peter Swales, who went on to say, I feel our best side is one capable of playing in the first division. This is Billy McNeil. But obviously we shall have to strengthen. We were a bit shallow and that's why we have struggled at times. For City Chairman Swales, it ended 2 years of heartache. Well, join the club, mate. The blackest date of my career was 2 years ago when we went down. Today has to be the brightest. For teenage goal hero Simpson, it's all a dream, he said. I just can't believe it. It has not sunk in yet. I have been living every moment of being in the first team, and now I'm in the first division. So there you go. That was Alan Stevens in the News of the World. Don Evans inside the News, just inside the same paper, he headlined his piece. Don Evans, promotion party. Phillips is the City Superman. He captured actually the humour of the fans, obviously with the tension gone, obviously when we went into a comfortable lead. And with the tension gone, he wrote, the football became fun with the final whistle frolics uppermost in the fans' mind. Indeed, having decided their lengthy chance of we're going up, we're now merely stating the obvious. They sang instead, Charlton, we love you. Long before the end, batteries of photographers were surrounding the touchline, and soon after the finish, even the press box was invaded by fans trying to shortcut into the inner sanctums of the club. So there you go. That was Don Evans writing there. People's Sport headline was thanks a million. That's from the assumed increased sales of season tickets. He went on to say Manchester City are set to hit the £1 million jackpot after their triumphant march back to the First Division. Thousands of jubilant fans poured onto the pitch to salute City's glorious victory over Charlton, and their return to the big time will bring in a staggering £500,000 in season ticket sales, plus another £500,000 bonanza from increased takings at home games. City's gates this season have averaged 24,000, but they expect to pull in around 30,000. Don't forget, there's 47,000 at this game. Where were all those guys early on, in the season? But hey, there you go. But they expect to pull in around 30,000 next season, and that's an extra 15,000 every home game, and every extra £15,000 every home game. So that's not much, is it? And I think inside, Norman Wynn headlined Rhapsody in Blue was the headline inside. The nightmare is over for Manchester City as they're back in the First Division. After 2 years in the wilderness, the cares, frustrations and self-inflicted doubts were all washed away in the final chapter of this traumatic season. And at the final whistle, to the relief of the biggest crowd of the season, brought unforgettable scenes of wild jubilation as thousands of cheering fans poured onto the pitch. Well, that's more from Norman Wynn there inside the people. And finally on the City thing, Vince Wilson For the headline, Slick City. This is for the Daily Mirror. Is it the Daily Mirror? Yeah, the Sunday Mirror. Sunday Mirror. Vince Wilson, the middle headline, Slick City and Big Time City, and led with Manchester City booked their return ticket to the First Division with a first-class performance yesterday. Slick City. Big Time City, he said inside. Manchester City stormed back into the big time just before the doors were locked and bolted for the season. Their perilous journey to the First Division ended in showbiz style with a resounding last-chance win on their own famous soil. The stops and starts on the way, the irritations, bitter disappointments were all forgotten when David Phillips' goal whistled past Charlton's 17-year-old keeper, he was only 17, keeper Lee Hemsworth, in the 5th minute, and then it sort of goes on from there, obviously. Well, there you go, Slick City, the headline in the Sunday Mirror and inside as well. Yeah, so 4 of the 5 teams that day who had a chance of promotion all won. Fortunately, obviously, City did the right thing, but it was City who held and kept their nerve to finish 3rd and get promoted. Just to say, 2 seasons after that despair of the Luton Town defeat on the last day of the 82-83 season. I'm not sure what time I rolled home that night. As I said, I would have been a little bit worse for wear. But it was only then when I got home that I sort of sobered up a little bit when I heard of the devastating fire at Valley Parade the same day, and it certainly did sober me up as I watched the news programmes. I mean, you didn't get the things like you get now, where you could sort of tune into Sky all the time. You have to sort of seek out news programmes and find special things being done on it. If City obviously had a share of the back page, and this obviously filled the front page along with some harrowing images. So again, looking at the actual pages, front pages now of the amount of papers I've just looked at for the back pages. Yeah, we've got a day of joy with Bradford celebrating promotion 2nd Division, ended in horror, of course, at Valley Parade. The Sunday Mirror headlined with that Dateline Bradford fans turned into human torches. 48 perish, 200 injured. Obviously, I'll give you an update on those figures at the end of this little thing. Obviously, these are the next day, don't forget. So obviously, they wouldn't have been able to pick up all or have the knowledge of the total deaths, etc. 48 perished, 200 injured. This was a scene of horror and confusion as fire swept a soccer match. Inside, you've got hell at Valley Parade on the day they celebrated as champs. The tragedy of Valley Parade happened as Bradford City's day of triumph. Before the game, champagne corks had popped merrily as fans and officials celebrated the team's promotion to Division 2 for the first time since 1937. The team received the Division 3 Championship trophy, and manager Trevor Cherry was given the Manager of the Month just before kick-off. Absolutely shocking. Shocked, fear and confusion on the face of a rescued woman, rescued dazed and shaken. An old man is given help. We carry on inside. Fireballs rain down on fans. I saw kids start it with paper for a joke. I mean, obviously, you're going to get eyewitnesses, even at this time, coming out with presumptions of what's happened. I mean, it's shocking, but that's what you're going to get. 48 people were killed yesterday, so they're claiming 48 were killed at this stage in time. Thousands of frantic fans fled in terror as fire ripped through the grandstand at Bradford. So that's shocking. Terror. Fans leaped to safety from the grandstand as sparks and flames engulfed them. The whole structure was ablaze within seconds. The Sunday people, they led with 48 dead. Was it arson in the blazing grandstand? Crushed and burned trying to smash through lock gates. 48 people died in a soccer ground fire disaster yesterday. About 200 others were injured as flames engulfed Bradford City's grandstand in 4 horrifying minutes. Arson had not been ruled out as an investigation went on by floodlight last night. Inside, the headlines: terror and death comes to Valley Parade. Families and old folk are trapped in the seats. The Queen sends note of sympathy. The worst tragedy since '65 died at Ibrox. Talking back to the Ibrox disaster many years before. Brave cop was on fire. An inferno. Survivors milling around the horror stand after a stampede to escape the blaze. These dramatic pictures from Yorkshire TV and ITN. Yeah, I'm showing images on the screen as well, which obviously sort of go along with this. You've got the News of the World. Of course, they led with 48 trapped soccer fans die in blaze. Human fireball, the horrific moment as terrified soccer fans scrambled to escape the flames of death at Bradford City ground yesterday. Smoke pours from the man top left of our picture as he becomes a human fireball. In seconds, 48 people died in the blazing stand. So the short images there of the stand, etc., and the terrible images of people actually on fire. Absolutely astounding. Screaming youngsters were rolling about in agony as they burned alive. This is page 2 and 3. This is all on the newspapers the day after. Valley of Death, 2 horrific minutes and the fireball left 48 dead and at least 200 injured. I can still hear the screams. Bradford City fan John McKenna, 51, watched in horror as shrieking fans collapsed in agony among the flames. I saw an old man screaming, being engulfed in thick black smoke, which was pierced with red flames, said Mr. McKenna of Maidstone Street, Bradford Moor, and obviously more eyewitness accounts, etc., etc. Valley of Death, yeah, they start to look like anything would. They start to look for the reasons behind this. To say, we mentioned a couple before, didn't we? Someone said they saw children lighting paper, etc. 2 horrific minutes, and the fireball left 48 dead. But then you get the riddle of arson at the match. So the Valley of Death again. So there you go. Shock Premier Margaret Thatcher at the time sent a message of sympathy to the families of Bradford Blaze victims last night as experts tried to establish whether the tragedy was caused by arson. So there you go. Yeah, in summary, very, as I said, a day of joy, wasn't it? turned to horror, and just as I say, it certainly sobered me up, I think, when I got home that night. The fire killed 56 spectators in total, injured at least 265. I'm not too sure how many of those 265 actually sort of got back to any normal lives. I doubt it very, very much. The stadium was obviously the long established home of Bradford City and was known for its antiquated design and facilities, as well as many grounds and stadiums at that time. Which included a wooden roof of the main stand, a wooden roof. Previous warnings had also been given about a major build-up of litter in the cavity below the seats in the stand. The stand had been officially condemned and was due to be replaced with a steel structure after the season ended. So literally after that game finished, they were actually moving in to demolish it and put a new roof on it. Unbelievable. TV commentator John Helm remarked upon a small fire in the main stand. Yeah, if you watch the news programmes, he sort of went through all this. In less than 4 minutes, with the windy conditions, it had engulfed the whole stand, trapping some people in their seats. In the mass panic that ensued, fleeing crowds escaped onto the pitch, but others at the back of the stand tried to break down locked exit doors to escape. Yeah, I mean, you know, these doors were locked, and many were burnt to death at the turnstile gates, which has also been locked after the match had begun. There were many cases of heroism, with more than 50 people later receiving police awards of commendations for bravery. And the cause at the end, when they find out all the investigations, the fire started 5 minutes before half-time during the match on the 11th of May between Bradford and Lincoln City. It was later established that the blaze was caused by a fan who went to put his cigarette out, but dropped it between the floorboards onto a pile of rubbish that had been building up below. So no deliberate arson, obviously. So a memorable day at Main Road for me and tens of thousands of City fans. But I'm sure, like me, by the end of that night, football did mean just a little less than it perhaps did at 5 o'clock that evening. For those that had gone to Bradford and sadly never got home, did they? They'd gone to support their team and never arrived home. Obviously, as we were bouncing up and down in the Kipax, celebrating that victory, as I say, the communication at that time, don't forget, was very rare. You had people with radios and stuff like this, but you never sort of felt the full force of this. I had the similar thing at with the Hillsborough disaster. I think I was watching City at Blackburn that day, and you just didn't realise. And then, as you say, it's only when you get home and start watching the news programmes, etc. So how are we to know in the Kipax celebrating joyous at Main Road that day, on the pitch, celebrating that these things had happened, not far away, obviously, Bradford, not far away for us. So joy tempered and absolutely shattered by horrific scenes. Anyway, thanks for joining me for this little moments in time. I hope that was interesting to say for the graphic. There's some graphic images there, obviously, on the paper. Say from back page to front page, it's that's the juxtaposition, isn't it? That's just how it is. That's how it was at the time. You say literally the one paper you've got, City roll back up, and then on the front page you've got that. Absolutely harrowing. Anyway, thanks for joining for this. Look back in time, this moment's in time. Very special one, obviously. The very, very special one. And obviously our sympathies still to this day, as I said. How those people that survived, how did they get through all that? But anyway, thanks for joining me for this moment's in time. 11th of May 1985, a day of both sheer joy for, obviously, Manchester City fans and initially for Bradford City fans, wasn't it? But it ended in utter tragedy and despair. Whatever you're going to do this day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. To meet here again on the Citizen channel, or if you have a look at my film and TV channel, whatever it is, all I ever ask of you is please stay safe, blues. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.